Hello and welcome to the Hotkeys podcast, your shortcut to various opinions on all things pop culture. This is the episode for the week of May the 7th, 2021. I am your host for this week, David Parker, and joining me today is...
Landon Browning.
Colby Chapman.
And Mick
Parker. Will is...
Oh! We finally know his real identity.
Who? Will is doing family stuff tonight, so he's out, but he'll be back next week. Also,
worked out okay, though.
Yeah, it worked out okay.
He doesn't have Amazon Prime, and we all do, and we all watched Invincible Season 1, right?
Yeah, we all just happened to finish the first season of Invincible before we did this, just, unrelated Hotkeys episode that we might talk about the show on, a.k.a., our spoiler cast.
Our Invincible Season 1 spoiler cast. Oh boy. Do we want to do like spoiler free impressions first, like for anybody that's like is going to tune in and listen a little bit? What'd you guys think of it? I think I know it.
Wild.
Yeah,
I got one word. That's it. That's all I want to say.
It's more wild than most other animated comic shows. It is kind of more akin to The Boys, I would say, in like the level of intensity. The tone is a little bit different. I would say it's quite a bit different than The Boys. But I thought it was really good. Spoiler free, I suppose. I really liked it. And I'm looking forward to the next season to see what's going to be happening. I really liked all the heroes on the show. I really like the main character, Invincible.
Yeah, dude, Dude, I love how it cuts to the title.
Yeah, I do too. Dave and I talked about that.
Yeah, it's kind of fun. It almost became like a game. Kind of, you're like, oh, is this what they're
waiting for them to say?
Are they gonna do the?
They would like tease you. Yeah.
Yeah, they had some fake outs.
And notice as the season went on, it got bloodier and bloodier.
Well, yeah, because I think they always used the same one from previous, and then they added the next splat.
Which I didn't realize till like episode like 7.
Until 7 bloods.
Man, it's really bloody.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So Colby, you liked it. Dave liked it. Mick, you liked it, right, as well?
I did. Yes, it's a big odd. Yeah, I did like it. It was good.
What else?
Yeah.
What other?
Spoiler free though.
Spoiler free. I like the animation style. It kind of reminded me of Dragon Ball Z a little bit. Not quite so. I mean, for multiple reasons, it's not really like a Cartoon Network like superhero show. But yeah, I really liked it. I haven't read the comic. I actually want to now. But yeah, I thought it was really good, and I'm excited to see more and see where the show goes.
Yeah, the style reminded me. I think we had talked about this last time, but the style reminded me a lot of kind of late 1990s, early 2000s superhero shows around that time. I think that's because that's when the comics came out, and so that's kind of maybe indicative of that style of the comic itself. But I liked that style, and because of how intense the show was, it was weird because there was kind of this weird mixture of, something that was very nostalgic, but also so much more intense, like the subject matter, and then like the things they show about like that bad guys can do.
Well, yeah, even the first like opening scene where the Guardians of the Globe are like doing their rescuing thing, like just that setting of like generic trying to kill the president type stuff, or that's very. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I've watched all of the Justice League cartoons, and that felt like it could have been, something Lex Luthor was doing, or
or the Mahler
something
twins.
like that. So
the Mahler twins.
Or the Mahler twins. Yeah. I'm the original.
Yeah, I'm the original. Yeah,
I
love
I'm a
it.
clone now.
The show's great, and another thing to say, like, this is not spoiler either, is the voice cast is like stellar for the show.
They got Mark Hamill.
They did. Yeah, Mark Hamill's in it.
Came back as the Joker, reprised his role.
It's basically Mark Hamill and then the entire cast of Walking Dead. or at least
yeah,
some of
them. And then I mean, you have Sandra Oh's in it, J.K. Simmons, Zazie
Jillian
Beetz,
Jacobs.
yeah, Walton Goggins, Zachary Quinto.
Yep.
What's the dude that plays the Rexplode guy? He's in a bunch of stuff.
Oh, I know him from The League.
Yeah.
You probably recognize him from he's the guy in Parks and Rec, like the Cologne guy.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
in the League,
Oh.
the FX show The League, which is about this group of friends that all do fantasy football together. It's very similar to, I would say, Seinfeld and Always Sunny, kind of the same sort of
irreverent humor.
Kind of, yeah. And kind of like just like dirtbag people, but they're really fun to watch. He plays a character in that who's one of like the grossest characters I've seen in any show or anything like that. So whenever I hear his voice, I just always picture his character from The League. He's just like a gross
He has an
dude.
iconic. He has a pretty distinct voice.
Yeah, really distinct voice, really distinct look. He's a funny actor.
Yeah. The voice cast is great. Yeah, I don't think there's much else besides like you should watch if you have an Amazon Prime subscription. Which
real quick,
does.
I would like to say on record, without him here to say that he doesn't, Will does have access to Amazon Prime Video. I just want that on record.
Thank you. Yes, he does have access to it.
I'll add that to the record. Okay, there we go. It has been stated.
All right, so spoiler warning going into effect. Like, crap.
Yeah. I guess because we spoiled the big thing, or the first big thing, I guess, last week when we talked a little bit about it. But yeah, it really goes even crazier from there.
I think the show does a good job of slowly building up the violence and tension throughout the show.
Yes.
Like, it starts out like a slow burn mystery as you're trying to figure out like why the heck Omni-Man, slaughtered
7 superheroes.
Superheroes, and there's like they do a really great job with the family tension between the three of them. Like, I'm trying to feel like if there's been another superhero show that did like that family tension as good as this show did. I don't feel like there's a ton of like most superhero characters.
Smallville.
Okay.
Never saw it.
Some of the stuff in The Boys in the second season.
Yeah,
with,
the second season. That's what I thought of.
Oh, his dad, butchering his dad.
Yeah. And then like the whole thing with the kind of reconciling with the wife, and then that
Rebecca
not really working out. I thought that there was some good tension there, especially with like the having to choose the son over the wife, and then
Yeah. I liked all that. I love the action sequences are great. Like the fight scenes. That's something I think like because like we said, this show is somewhat comparable to The Boys as far as like the boundaries it pushes, I guess, with violence. I definitely felt like the violence wasn't here to shock you, though, as much. I was like, The Boys is clearly trying to be over the top, somewhat as like either comedic or like for the sake of shock value. I did not feel like the violence in Invincible was like just like there for the sake of being there.
Right.
And I think they introduce it to in the way they do in that first episode, where you have like the first 40 minutes of the episode it's basically like any other cartoon, except they're saying like TV 14 words instead of TV 7 words, and then so it's like everything else, it's fairly kind of like a regular superhero kind of level of violence that you get in a cartoon. And then once you get the kicker of like the Omni-Man betrayal, and then you realize just how serious this is and how dangerous and how deadly this guy is and what he's capable of. And then you're left with wondering like, why did this happen? And then
you don't know his motives.
And then what else is going to happen with this? Because like clearly there's other superheroes on the planet, and he just killed the 7 best of them.
Strongest.
Is he going to like try to kill more of them? What's going on?
Yeah.
And then we slowly start to learn what's going on.
Yeah. It's so good. I love the slow burn of it, and then as he's like slowly getting more and more unhinged, and the wife's like slowly starting to question more and more things. And like she realizes what's going on, and they all start figuring out.
The demon detective guy.
Oh,
he was cool.
I thought he was really
cool.
great. Kind of his thing about trying to like, because basically the purposes of his character, right, is that he's trying to kind of win his soul back, sort of by finding justice in other things that people have done wrong, and so his like his motivation or like his goal to like find the ultimate truth, I thought was really interesting as a character because other people know that about him. Especially, I think that's what kind of really got to the wife, is that like she knows that this person is trying to figure out exactly what's happening, and the fact that he was kind of suspecting Omni-Man is, I think, kind of what pushed the wife into thinking that this is there may be something else going on here, and he might be involved.
Right.
I love
that's
when
she did her own investigating.
Yeah, I love when Cecil, the basically like the agent of Shield character, the head of him, like when they send him back to hell, he's like, you're black and white, man. He's like, I need to keep things gray.
I got to keep things gray over here.
They just zap him back to hell.
Cecil was great too. Like, I thought he was kind of an annoying character the first episode or two, but he really grew on me by the end of the series. I thought most of the characters were really like that. There's something about just all even like kind of the more minor characters or the more minor
like
enemies.
They were all cool. They all worked for me.
Doc Seismic, the guy who was at Mount Rushmore. Like, some of his dialogue was really funny. And the things he was he was talking about what he had, like, what the his minor in the social stuff or whatever, and so he was like, these were slave owners. He was like, and you guys are worshiping these founding fathers and stuff. Every minor character I thought was really interesting. I don't know. They just did the writing was so good.
The only one, the Rex Splode character took a little bit for me. I found his character a little grating at first, just with how obnoxious he was. But like as the episodes went on, he grew on me. So
I feel like the intention of that too was like they want you to just not like this guy, which was easy.
Yeah.
I mean, he was an easy character to kind of hate. But the longer you got on, you kind of, I don't know. I don't know if you just got used to him or thought he was less annoying or something, but he did grow on me as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I can't think of any other characters. I liked them all. Like you said, they were all great. Like I bought in immediately. Like there's some that riff their powers are kind of riffed off of other superheroes, but I felt like
there was the lion guy who kind of, to me, it kind of gave like Thanos vibes or Dark Side, I guess. Kind of this conqueror who's trying to come, and he was just like, he decimated Invincible.
that fight sequence left me pretty like. That fight sequence, I think that's episode 5, which was, I think, I liked all the episodes, but that was one of the standout ones, probably top 3 for me. Like, when that episode ended, I was, like, sitting there, like, wide-eyed. Like,
I was a little quiet after that one.
Yeah, like, because watch, you kind of think, you're like, okay, like, Invincible's
like Monster
basically
Girl
wrecked, and then Monster Girl might be dead, and Black Samson might be dead. Like,
could have picked a different name.
Yeah, like...
Just a brutal, like...
What did they say at the beginning when he chooses his name? They're like, a little optimistic.
Yeah, a little optimistic. Like,
and then the ending of that episode.
Yeah, he's laying there basically like split, like they hit him with that hammer.
Well,
thing.
and like the very end, so he's there in this building because some guy was asking for his help. So supervillain, he caught him earlier, a couple episodes earlier. What's his name?
Titan, I believe was his name, which he was really cool.
Yeah, so he Invincible caught him. Was it robbing a bank? So
I think so.
Something of that nature. So he caught him in an act of crime, and he basically like spends all episode like kind of pleading his case on why Invincible should go out and help him. And he uses like his family as like kind of a way to be like, hey, I'm not actually a criminal. Like, I'm trying to do good. Help me take down my boss. The whole thing's like a scheme and a setup to get them there. I don't know. I really like that. And then at the end, you realize that
he kind of got played a little bit.
Yeah, he did get played, and so I'm interested to see how that character plays.
Like earlier in the episode, like they're at the dinner table. Mark and his Omni-Man and the mom's Debbie, I think her name is. And they're like, he's asking them what he should do, and they're both like giving him different opinions. Like Omni-Man's like, oh, this is below you. Like you're a Viltrumite or whatever. Like you got to save the world. Who cares about?
Yeah, who cares about just like the individual?
Yeah, and the mom's like, well, you should never, it's never not noble to help someone. But then like at the end of the episode, you're like, I don't really, they kind of had both valid points to it a little bit
and that's where like the tension starts to set in too between Debbie and Nolan as Omni-Man. So yeah, that's kind of when things started to heat up between them.
Some of the characters were really creepy. The Sinclair guy, at the college, the one that makes all basically the cyborgs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
guy was
He looked like Loki.
kind of yeah. He was a creeper.
When he showed up later, it was like
with his jaw thing on.
Later,
yeah.
I was like, "Who is that?" Like he was so unrecognizable. I was like, "Oh, it's that guy that."
They got the crap beat out of him.
Yeah,
the cyborg zombie dude, right?
Yeah. Those cyborg zombie. This character and the zombie things were creepy. Like,
yeah,
the sewers and stuff. Like, the show's fun too. Like, it's super serious, but like it's fun at the same time. Like that whole episode where they go to the college and they're like hanging out and there's a lot of funny jokes and stuff going on, and then it can flip on a dime so fast though, where it's like, now it's not. I was
laughing so hard at the scene where he flies off to go help someone, where the girlfriend Amber is waiting in the room, and then he flies back to go meet her, and the dad's down there like small talking, and he just keeps going
yeah.
I was laughing so hard at that scene because it's like, I don't know, that scene was just a little too relatable to me. I feel like I've been in that situation too many times where like there's an older person talking to you and you're like just trying to nope out of the conversation.
Yeah. And then what does he say right before he goes? He's like, "Oh, Dad, you got something on your back," and it's like some kaiju, like tentacle or something. Like, yeah.
Or like riffing on the one-liners when he realizes he's like, "Oh, they all sound this bad, huh?" And then he kind of stops at that point.
Yeah.
And then you kind of think, you're like, "Oh yeah, I guess like a lot of them are really bad."
Yeah. Another thing, this is just a small detail that kind of leads into some of the more serious scenes. I love how they show, like, when he's getting the snot beat out of him, a lot of times, his goggles. Like, I mean, it's a bunch. I mean, almost every fight he's getting the snot, but like his goggles like break in points, and you can see like more like his
fear in his eyes, kind of,
fear and like terror and like
usually
shock
he looks
and horror,
really scared.
Kind of like when, I guess the comparison I would think to is like Spider-Man. I think in the first Spider-Man the Raimi one, where his mask is kind of torn apart. I thought that worked really well in Invincible, showing the terror going on. You guys have, like, if you could pick 3 favorite characters though, if you had to narrow it down out of the cast, who would
I like Cecil. I liked Invincible, Mark, and he didn't get a lot of screen time, but I liked Mark Hamill's character.
Yeah, he was cool.
Yeah, I was really afraid when Nolan went and visited him.
Yeah,
I was like, "Oh,
he's wanted to drink a six or what?"
Yeah, just gonna like drinking beer with the boys.
He's gonna like rip him in half.
What he say? Like, he's like, "Don't want to piss off your tailor."
Yeah.
I really liked the Mahler twins, so that's 2, or is it 1 character?
Nah, that's fine. They're because one's a clone.
Yeah, well, because when they're introduced in the beginning in that first episode, I was like, oh, this is like a good way to like kind of show the capability of these other, like these 7 and what they're capable of, because they really were like kind of came to mind as the most generic kind of enemies. Mm-hmm. These just like big clones that show up to fight, and it's like, oh, like that'll be the end of them. We won't see them again, but that's fine because like they made sense in that moment to me as like they're kind of just this like generic, these generic enemies. And then they show up again later, and they're pretty integral to this kind of subplot with the other character I really liked, which was Robot. He was one of my favorite characters. His kind of mystery throughout the show, trying to figure out like what is happening with him. Like, is he a bad guy? Is he a good guy? Yeah. And then him like working with the Mahler twins to kind of essentially resurrect or transfer himself, because really he's not a robot. He's this, deformed. Is he a human? Was he just a really smart human that was really deformed?
Really deformed.
Yeah, this really deformed, brilliant human who's trying to get transferred his consciousness essentially to another body, like a much more fit and young body. So that whole subplot I really enjoyed. That like other than kind of the main story, I think that was by far my favorite part of the entire series. Was that the moment when the young clone comes out and he interacts with the original, what's his name,
really
like
sad.
Rudy or Rudolph or something.
I think it's Rudy.
Yeah, that was really touching.
That was emotional.
Yeah, that was very emotional, much more emotional than most other, I think, comic things I've watched.
It could have been in a Pixar movie.
Let alone let alone like animated comic movies. Mm-hmm. But that whole scene, which like when you first see him, you're like, ew, who's this gross guy that like is but then by the end of that, like I was so sad. But like him passing and like I liked the difference.
It all happened.
I liked the difference between when you see like when the Mallertons wake up and right away like they're bickering and everything, and then you kind of when the one comes out and they interact, and the original is like, no, like please, I want you to like live this full life, and like I want you to. It was so selfless. It was just.
He's like, oh, I'm sorry, it was me that came out on.
Oh dang! Like, you had to go there. Oh man, gosh, thinking about it.
Yeah, that was a great.
It's kind of like in Prestige.
Yep.
Except he didn't grab a gun and shoot the other one.
Right away, he's like, no,
please. If I had to choose three, I'd probably go Fish Boy, Donald, and Eve. I think I go Donald, Eve, and Robot. I liked Robot's character. That subplot I liked that.
Can I
Zachary Quinto plays a good character that has almost no emotion.
Yeah. He was one that took me a while. I was like, who is this? Like, why? Like, it's so familiar. Why can't I? Spock! And then I recognized.
Or his character from 24.
Yeah, or his character from Heroes, or his character from anything else he's ever been in. Yeah. Actually, he plays a blind man in, I don't know if you guys have you guys seen Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt on Netflix?
No, I've seen like one episode.
Anyway, it was made by Tina Fey, who did 30 Rock, so it's very similar to 30 Rock, which I really like 30 Rock. Anyway, he plays a blind character in that show, which is a little bit different, but it's neither here nor there. Who's pretending he's not blind, so it's interesting. It's funny. It's really funny. Because when you first meet him, he's like this really arrogant character. He's like an investment banker or something, but there's just something not quite right. And he really comes off as like the douchiest character, and then later you learn it's because he's like trying to figure out where he is in the world because he can't see. Anyway, so can I tell you guys something Colby told me earlier today?
Sure.
So Colby and I are in a PlayStation party, and he goes, "So Eve and Mark, like,
yeah, Colby won't shut up about
right?
this,
right? You want that, don't you? You want that?" And I said, "What?"
And then I said, "Come on, Dave, tell me you yearn for that."
He said, you yearn for that, don't you? And I said, "I don't think I yearn for anything in a cartoon."
Are you reading off of something? Did you write this down?
No, it was. I just have a great memory.
That was what Colby was texting me after he finished the show. He's like, I don't want Amber to come back. I want Mark and Eve to be together. I'm like,
that was actually how Colby introduced. He said, "How do you feel about Amber?" And I said, "I guess she's okay." And I think he was wanting me to say like, "I hate her."
No, I don't hate her character, but it doesn't work. So Landon and I talked because
I don't condone anything Colby says.
Now hold on, dude.
Disclaimer.
Now, hold on. So Mark is dating this girl from his high school named Amber, and he doesn't want to reveal his secret identity to her, so he just comes up with a lot of excuses that just don't work for why he's always gone, has to leave last minute, can't make these plans, and she gets really frustrated with him. I guess the span of the show goes on for like 4 or 5 months. And
it's like 8 or 9 months, I think. At one point, they said 8 months ago was when the 7 were killed.
Oh, well, I was just okay. So they've been dating. They've been dating for like
the boys.
No. Oh, you're right. So,
oops.
The Guardians of the Globe.
There you go.
They've been dating for like 4 or 5 months, and so there's a scene that Dave was talking about where he flies off to go save them, right? Because there's one of those like robot zombie things that are the first one they encounter is at this college, and he's there with Amber and his friend William. So he goes out and he saves them, and he's fighting them, and he's right in front of William, and William's like, "Oh, like, this is Mark." So he gets that realization, but a secret from Amber still. So Amber kind of like blows up on him. She's like, "Where were you? You basically left us to die." And then later on in the show, a couple episodes later, she's like, "Oh yeah, I've known that you were invincible for months now." So it's like, I don't like her attitude. Why would she just like go off and yell at him?
Attitude.
Like, I don't, dude. Why would she just like yell at him in front of all these people?
Honest, like, were you not listening? Colby?
Honesty is a big theme in this show, Colby.
She doesn't get it, though. That's a secret identity. So that's why it would work with Eve, because Eve is also a superhero, for those of you that don't know.
Whoa!
Spoiler. So
I think Colby just says it's like fan fiction. Like, what's what the nerds call it? Like, you're shipping them. You're shipping Mark and Eve.
Colby's furiously writing right now.
Yeah.
And then they kiss. This was another side plot I really liked. It was in like episode 2 or 3. The time. The aliens that keep coming through the portals to destroy
that was
city.
awesome. Yeah.
And how the time affects them and they keep coming back and everything, and kind of robot is trying to
cool.
counter. Yeah, I liked that. And then like the one guy that keeps coming back, and like he keeps getting affected by this,
like
and he's been trying
warlord.
to lead these
and then
people. Oh yeah.
And then Omni-Man says, "Ooh, no, this is my planet to conquer," and then like basically kills like all of them. Like,
the end of that episode I think was good, kind of indicator of more what he is capable.
He's a bad man.
That he was more bad than good, and I think that kind of, because I think if you had any doubts that or if you had kind of any hints that maybe he killed the Guardians of the Globe for some good purpose, I think that disappeared kind of at the end of that episode when he completely annihilated a species.
It is kind of interesting though, looking at it from that point of view that Landon mentioned, that like it was his, like it's his planet to conquer, so he's like making sure that nobody else does it. That's interesting. I didn't look at it that way before.
That was kind of
I didn't think about that until after I finished. I was like, because he says that to me. He's like, this isn't like, this planet isn't available to conquer or something.
Like, this isn't your planet to conquer. And then I was like, dang. So okay, he clearly has some grand plan for this. I wasn't expecting necessarily that his whole race were conquerors. But yeah, after that line, I was like, it seemed that it was clear he was gonna try to take over the world.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was preparing, for the Empire to show up.
Yeah.
So
dude.
Spoilers. Yeah. What are they? The
Viltrumites.
Yeah, the Viltrumites. Yeah, they're not they're great.
Not nice people.
Yeah, they're not the nice people that the dad said they are. They're conquerors, and they go out and basically assimilate.
They're trying to make the better. They're trying to make the world.
They're like the Nilfgaardians in The Witcher.
They're probably worse.
Probably, yeah.
I
the Romans in real life.
World.
yeah, in Earth, in Urath. This is in Urath.
Oh,
yeah.
One thing that I found kind of cool. I don't know. This might have been a stretch on my part. So there's a scene where Omni-Man and Invincible are in the sky, and Invincible just watched his dad kill another superhero on international television. Well, like, he watched it happen right in front of him, but it's like the whole world's watching at this point. And so,
do you mean the second time he kills Immortal?
Yeah, the second time he kills Immortal. So.
Like, he should have stayed dead. That scene, like, even leading up to that, you watch, like, Omni-Man, like, kind of breaks. Like,
Omni-Man!
He starts he slaughters the, like, guards that are inside his house, like, brutally. Yeah. And then he kills all those people, and he takes out, like, their space cannon thing, and then like you said, he tears that dude apart.
So
$400 billion for a nosebleed.
Great line.
There's a scene where Omni-Man and Invincible are in the sky, and Omni-Man's like, "Hey, like, we need to have a talk, right?" Because at this point, Invincible knows his dad's a terrible person. So he's like, "Hey, we need to have a talk," and it was more of like an argument. And it was like Omni-Man being like, "Okay." What I'm trying to say is I found the similarity in that scene with
the talks you've had with your dad.
No, Revenge of the Sith, where Anakin and Obi-Wan have their little iconic dialogue.
You are my brother, Anakin.
Right, because Omni-Man's standing there like, my allegiance is to the Viltrumites, to the Empire, and Invincible's like, your new Empire? So I thought that was pretty funny. That was like something that clicked right away.
Only if any of you guys deals in absolutes.
Yeah.
I mean, like you don't. I mean, I'm not like an Omni-Man sympathizer here, but like in the grand scheme of things, when he says like this is like a speck of time for me, and that like my allegiance is with Viltrum. That, like, he saw the wife as a pet. It was like,
dude, that was like, oh my gosh, like, especially because like I think she might have been able to hear that because like there's
she was
crying.
I felt like, in all honesty, so episode like episode 8, the first like 20 something minutes of episode 8 is probably some of the most like gut wrenching like television, like definitely for a superhero show and like just in general, like that the 20 minutes, like the carnage that you see in the 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you watch. I mean, I don't think superhero movies do not do a good job of, in general, like showing the havoc that's caused. And I know most
it's
of them
really glossed over. It's
so. I mean, from the Avengers, like they kind of address like, oh, the Sokovia whatever trials and stuff like that, or like the Superman and Zod fight in Batman or in Man of Steel, like all that, like, you know, so much destruction's happening in this. Like Omni-Man hurls Invincible through some buildings in downtown Chicago. But before it happens, you see all the people just kind of like in the streets going about their day-to-day life. And then, you know, Mark goes flying through the buildings and he looks up. And I mean, you just see like gore and like chunks of people.
Yeah, the
everywhere.
subway thing.
That happens. So a building's falling down. He tries to save the two people. It collapses. And then it pans to him just holding one of their arms. And then his dad grabs him. And he's like berating him the entire time during this scene, takes him down in the subway, and he's like, now you're going to watch it again or whatever, and like holds him up as the subway train comes through, and you just watch it. This is probably it was hard to watch. I mean, you watch this subway train hit them, and they're basically tearing the subway train apart as it's flying through them, and you're just watching people get like
eviscerated,
exploding
left
and right. And it's just like, you just like, I think at that point Mark's like headgear's completely gone, and you just watch it like eyes wide as blood, just covered in blood. And then he yanks him out. And this, I started kind of choking up during this part when he takes him out of the ground, and then he like throws him into the ground, and Omni-Man is just like wailing on Mark like over and over again. His face is like swollen, and he's berating him the whole time. And like he asks him, he's like, and like, you know, like he's like, by the time you look like you're 30, like everybody you'll like have ever known and cared about is dead. He's like, what will you be left with now? And like Mark just like sputters out the words. He's like, I'll still have you, but you can barely even hear him say it because he looks like his face is like swollen beyond like recognition. And like when he was like saying, like, I was choking up watching that scene. Like it was so hard to watch. Like, oh.
You like Omni-Man and you like flew away and then you shed a single tear.
Yeah, It's like, that scene hit like a ton of bricks. Like, oh man, I love this show so much. Like, it's so good. I'm gonna make a bold claim. I think I like it more than The Boys.
Oh,
I like it more than The Boys for sure.
I think just because of the fantastical things that happen in superhero stuff, I think it is better suited for animation.
Yep.
Yeah,
just there's more you can do. It's much more versatile. I mean, you can have fun live action superhero stuff, but I don't know. I feel like it can work better in animation.
Yep.
I think
totally
this show
that,
proves that in pretty much every single way. Not to like undercut live action things. I mean, I think they're still good, and you see real people. So like as humans, we can connect a little bit deeper, I think, with humans when we see on screen. But I think for some of the stuff that we see in these type of shows, I don't know, it just works better for me as animated. And this show I think is the perfect way to kind of encapsulate that.
I think this show's the high watermark for superhero like movies, television, like this is at the peak of the mountain for me now. Like,
did you not see the 1960s animated Spider-Man show?
I have not. Is it like this?
So good. I mean, it's Invincible, and then
the 1960s Spider-Man.
1970s. Which one is it, Mick? The really bad Spider-Man animated TV show.
I mean, there's a lot of bad ones, but I think that one is like late 60s, early 70s, or maybe even 80s. I don't know. There was a lot of bad ones though.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm agreeing with you. I think. Like Into the Spider-Verse, I think kind of is another one. It's you couldn't have made that movie live action, and that was a really good superhero movie.
Yeah, that's one of the better. Yeah, it's one of the best ones out there, in my opinion. So I hope more people keep trying to do the animated take. You couldn't show the amount of violence they showed in the show, like in a live action. Like you couldn't do it. I don't think. But I am beyond stoked for it. It's already been picked up for at least 2 more seasons by Amazon Prime. So
did you buy the compendiums yet or whatever?
I haven't. I'm torn. I always get torn.
Because you don't want to get spoiled for the show.
Well, I don't want to get spoiled for the show, and then I'm also like, I don't want to read that, then have expectations for the show, and then like, let's say the comics are better or worse than the show. I almost don't want to have to compare it because I just want to like the whole day after I finished the show, it's all I could think about. Like at work, I was just like driving down the road thinking about the show, which for me that's like a mark to show that like something like really was really good that I can't stop thinking about it.
I mean, I pretty much watched all the episodes but one yesterday after I got home from work. So I just marathoned it. Bree was gone for the night, so I just watched basically the entire series in one run. And yeah, so today at work I was thinking a lot about the show at work. And then I knew that we were going to talk about it tonight too, so
it's it's so good. It's so good. It was so good last night. I tried to like watch something. I couldn't find a show to watch. I like started 3 different things, just stopped them, and just like went to bed.
Have you heard of this show on Amazon? It's called Fleabag. They have 2 seasons.
Stop. You can watch that, Dave. Watch it. Please.
I almost started it, but actually today, I was keeping with that Amazon comic theme, so I actually watched the first episode of Good Omens. Neil Gaiman.
Okay.
That was actually really funny. I really liked it, so I'm going to keep watching it.
Oh, Fleabag, no.
It's just 1 season,
Fleabag's just 1 season.
1 more season to go.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Anybody else have any other thoughts on Invincible?
Did we want to like speculate what's going to happen? I mean, at the end, so he beats up his son really close to death, and he flies away, like seemingly towards his home planet. So now the Earth is left without Omni-Man, but kind of anticipating, I'm guessing, that they're coming back with an army.
More.
So, thoughts on what's going to happen?
I mean, I could see them doing a thing where he doesn't show up till like the end of season 2, and maybe that's like the end credit.
Right.
I could kind of imagine a second season where Omni-Man's not even in it really till the very end, and it's just like a hint. But he's clearly coming back. They do kind of hint at the end, like after like everything wraps up. They kind of hint at like what the villains are going to be, like some of the side villains. They kind of show some of the villains he fought. Like they showed the Lion character again. They show Titan. They show that Doc Seismic character kind of living down in the volcano now with like fire.
Yeah.
And, like things. Like, I love the guy they have
into a dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they have the thing. I love that. I didn't touch on this. The subplot, like in episode 4, he goes to Mars with astronauts, and he essentially like causes like an apocalyptic event to happen on the planet without even knowing it. So
all the face huggers with the Martians, basically.
Yeah. I love that. Like at the end of that episode, it cuts with just like a wave of them coming towards all the Martians. So he'll probably have to fix that next season.
Hopefully. I mean,
it'd
kind of suck if we just screwed over all of Mars.
Yeah, I hope it's kind of just like the first season, like keeps building off of what they accomplished in that, like more interesting side villains, keep building the relationships with the new Guardians of the Globe.
See what the Mahler twins are up to.
Yeah, I hope they better.
They're always scheming. They're always
give us bad schematics.
I love when they break out of jail and they're like, 40 millimeter cannon. And he's like, what are we doing? He's like, isn't it obvious? Like, and he like grabs him.
I can always make a new brother.
I can always make another.
Sorry, Pete. I'm glad he didn't kill Pete. Like when they didn't kill Pete, I was like, okay, I guess the Mahler twins are okay. Like, they just wanted to get out.
They killed some of those guards, I'm pretty sure.
No, that was the ricochets that killed the guards. Good show though. I didn't know much about it, but Landon kept talking about it, so I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot, and I really enjoyed it. I really liked the show. I think Will should watch it. I do think this would be one of those shows that Will could really get behind if he can, overcome his fear of using Amazon.
Stubborn.
Yeah, It's like, oh, my parents know what I watch. Like, not like they can't see what he watches on Netflix. Like,
Yeah.
whatever. Will's like, I'm pretty busy playing this anime game for the next 50
Yeah.
hours. So.
Also, like the fact that like his dad was, his dad shares a PSN account with him sometimes and logs in, and Will's profile picture is just a screenshot off of some anime. So it's like, you're worried about this superhero show, man? Like your dad can load up a save file from Persona 5 at any given time while you're at youth group, and you're worried about them.
Will might not have thought about that, Colby. You're gonna.
Will's like, sorry, Dad, you can't use my PlayStation.
Yeah. Will's like, I gotta change all my personas.
Persona.
But,
No.
yeah,
This is one I was using to just combine with another persona to make a different.
It was just
persona.
for a trophy, I swear.
Oh man.
Yeah, I think that kind of sums up my thoughts on Invincible, though.
Anything else, Mick?
9.5 out of 10.
No. I mean, I'm like Landon said, I'm just excited to see where they go. I know a little bit of the comics, so I know some stuff that I won't mention. But if they go those certain directions, then that'll be cool. So, yeah.
Sweet.
Dave?
That's all I got for now. I'm sure it'll come up in future episodes. We'll probably mention some stuff because, I mean, it was a great show. So, I'm sure we will compare other things to it because,
like I said, high
it was
water
a great
mark.
show. Yeah,
It's a high water mark.
it's
Good show. Good
definitely up
show.
there. Anyway, but I think that's all we're gonna cover tonight for the most part because you guys have somewhere to go, and then I have to go to bed. Bree is graduating from medical school tomorrow, so she gets her MD.
So that's like super exciting and stuff, but not really related to Invincible, so we're just going to gloss over that.
Cut it.
So I need to go to bed so that we can go to that thing tomorrow, and you guys need to go to some event you have. What do you have? Fire pit with the boys?
Yeah, we're going to hang out.
Friends with
Fire
guys.
Yeah.
Friend of the show,
Just
infrequent
guys
guest
being
host,
dudes.
Brandon Bick.
Yeah, it's going to be super cool.
Will it be cold?
No,
Yeah,
it's
it'll
on
be-
fire.
Kind of chilly.
Colby, are you even gonna go?
Yeah, I'll go.
Oh, okay.
Only because I have nothing else
Oh,
to
man,
do.
you sound super
Yeah, I was
excited.
gonna. Yeah, I'll go hang out with my friends. Oh gosh. Okay.
I'm not really looking forward to my legs being cold, but
Wear
I
pants.
guess I'll go.
Okay. Well, you guys.
I'm gonna wear pants.
You guys have fun. We'll be back next week for another episode of Hotkeys Podcast.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Invincible.
Ooh. Big double.
Splat.
Yeah, by the last episode, dude, it was like,
Too much splat.
I hope they just keep going with it. Like, it's the first episode of next season starts with that much blood. Like, with the
Like, oh no, you can't even read it. It's just,
it's just a red
it's
screen.
just a
red
dark
screen.
red screen
Yeah.
that just
I think
keeps
that'd be
getting
funny.
blacker.
Cold. Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Hotkeys podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Castbox, YouTube, and other podcasting platforms. Visit our website, www.hotkeyspodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at Hotkeys Podcast and join our Facebook group at facebook.com/HKHotkeys. Please like and review us and subscribe to the show on whichever platforms you use. Finally, you can contact us via email at hosts@hotkeyspodcast.com.